Namaste everyone. Jai Bhagwan. So today we are going to discuss how to prevent yoga related injuries. The most common causes which induces yoga related injury, the first and foremost thing is overstretching, especially when we hear the word, and the most harmful word ever spoken in yoga is no pain no gain. So if you push through pain, a little pain with muscle soreness would be fine. But the problem here is we don't know where to stop, and we don't share our pain with the facilitator or the instructor. So we think that the more the pain, the gain would be more. So that theory won't work here, because it's not about the pain. It's not about the flexibility we are talking about, because pain won't make us more stronger or more flexible. It is the most common misspoken words in the field of yoga. So overstretching is not really going to help anybody. Stretching is a gradual process, and we have to be aware of overstretching, especially when it comes to the practitioner as well as the instructor or a therapist. So we should not push them even in one or two classes. It's a gradual process. We should always take them gradually with respect to their range of motion, because everybody got their own range of motion. So we have to respect that, and accordingly we have to make our sessions planned. And misalignment, because most of the time we try to practice yoga without supervision or by following some videos or other things. But one thing we have to be very careful is alignment, because alignment explains everything. Biomechanically speaking, the entire body's weight distribution and the synchronization of agonists, antagonists, and synergist muscles, and the entire movement, and the very basic weight shift that happens in the movement can be properly achieved through maintaining proper alignment. So misalignment generally happens because of lack of knowledge and lack of proper instruction. So we have to be very, very cautious when it comes to body alignment. So always start your practice with proper supervision. And inadequate and improper instruction in yoga community, often we get to see this kind of miscommunication or lack of communication between the practitioners and the teacher. So inadequate or improper instruction could even make a simple posture complicate, and it can cause injury or pain. So our instructions should be clear and it should be proper. And without having proper strength, we should never try to attempt practices which requires a lot of muscle strength. For example, if you want to do bakasana, you need to have a good core strength before we attempt that. So always we should start from the basic requirements of fulfilling strength and achieving good range of motion. Then we can gradually move on to the demanding yoga practices can be safely practiced. And never try to skip warm up, because warm up is not just for the flexibility. Warm up prepares our entire musculoskeletal and cardiovascular system, including nervous system, for the practice we are going to do it. Without proper warm up, if we attempt any sort of practice, it gives us the major possibility of injury. And skipping relaxation is not acceptable in the field of yoga, because it's not just for the purpose of cooling down. It gives our entire metabolic and the coordination between systems a chance to re-establish or restore its normal functions. So skipping relaxation is not advisable, and it is very essential to prevent injury. And most of the time we get to see lack of attention, because most of the practitioners are distracted. So distraction is not accepted. If the mind is not synchronized with the body and we are not experiencing bodily changes, then the very distraction could be one of the most lethal possibility of injury. And when it comes to old age, elderly, osteoporosis is one of the commonest manifestation. So the bony rarefaction could be a threat for attempting any advanced practices which requires lot of strength and balance. So we have to be careful in choosing particular practices for elderly. Once they start practicing basic asanas with the safety levels managed, then we can proceed further for demanding postures. An improper breathing technique, like most of them, they do forceful breathing. They never try to synchronize their breathing with the movement. So this restrict their very possibility of achieving complete range of motion. And even doing Kapalbhati and Bhastrika in an improper manner can cause cardiovascular complications. So most commonest of all are poses done too fast without having a proper experience of the body, and pressure from the teacher or from the group, competing with others, undisclosed prior conditions. So we have to respect all these things. We have to accept the limitations, because without proper understanding, we should not try anything new. And always try to look for small classes where a teacher or an instructor could pay more attention to each and every practitioner. And always try to follow your gut feeling, because only the practitioner knows which is the most vulnerable part in their body. So because like arthritis or any old injuries or any prior surgeries area, so these are the commonest sites for getting injured or getting hurt again. So these things should be taken care, and we should always listen to our body. Listening to our body is not just to develop awareness, even to experience the pain. We should always think that pain is not something which is very noble, because we experiencing more pain will not make us get better. So always we should listen to our bodies, and when there is a pain while practicing, you should always speak up. So don't try to work through, because anything greater than little muscle soreness is always alarming. So we should always start speaking up. So, and one should always respect their limits. Most of the time we don't accept the limits. We try to challenge ourselves. So don't do that. Accept the limitations and slowly start working with the limitations, and we can definitely overcome and proceed further. And always try to follow our own pace. That is most important. And there are so many forms of yoga. We don't have to worry so much about always going for a complicated practices. It's always better to start with basic things and developing better awareness with a proper supervisor. Like expert supervision is very essential when it comes to yoga practices. Or we should have a proper understanding of what we are doing. So have a proper knowledge or proper supervision is very essential for yoga practices. When it comes to beginners, always start with simple yoga practices, because awareness is the key in yoga. And our aim is to develop whole body awareness. It is not about flexibility or strength, agility, endurance. All these things are byproducts of practicing yoga. The very purpose of practicing yoga is to develop whole body awareness. And for most important thing is to prevent injury. So these few tips, if we follow, we can protect ourselves from getting injured. Thank you very much. Stay safe.